Oh, I'm back. I was like, damn, that is a long song. The video was a lot shorter. That's what I was watching. I didn't hear the song. I saw the video. But anyway, that was Roshan Murphy's new single. So, let's get back to the topics that we want to talk about because I got to get through all these stories in what? 15 minutes? Well, 45 minutes. What am I talking about? Bitch, you can't even tell time, honey. But anyway, so Cardi B is getting roasted on social media by the Beehive over something that she decided to jump into. Well, not jump into, but she decided to throw somebody in the conversation. She decided to bring up Jay-Z and Beyonce's infidelity to justify her decision to marry Offset. Oh, that was another one, in case y'all didn't know. Her Offset revealed something about his wife. I'm like, wife? I'm like, bitch, you ain't even marry her. Come to find out, they actually been married since 2017. And so they got married last year, and they've been married a while, but they kept it secret. But he revealed this on the BET Awards when the Migos won. For what reason, I don't know, but they won. So anyway, so someone went and posted by the name of... Wait, hold on. Where's his name? White Boy Spam put, so they married, and then put the dead emoji, and was like, and he still cheated? Okay, sis. And so Cardi B felt the need to respond by saying, and so did Martin Luther King, Kobe, Jay-Z, and Clinton, and most likely your father. But guess what? We worked things out and grew, about to have a baby and purchasing a home together. Shit happens. Here's the thing. Cardi, I live for you. I like the music. I like what you're all about. But girl, you really need to stay your ass off social media and stop getting into little fights with every goddamn person that don't know you. If you have to go on social media and justify your relationship to people who don't know you, clearly you are not secure enough in your relationship with that person. It's like a meme I posted the other day. It was like, just because I don't put my business or who I'm in a relationship with out on, social media doesn't mean that they don't exist. You got rats and roaches up in your house, but you don't put them on blast, which is basically was the emoji, and it was hilarious. But I want to say, like, yeah, if you want to sit and be in a relationship with Offset after he cheated on you and that sort of thing, then you know what? Live your best life. Do you. Do what you need to do. Live with that. You have to live with that man. I don't. I personally don't care if you stay with Offset. But if people are going to go and make comments on your relationship, you don't have to respond to every time they say something. So a couple of the tweets that people had sent out was like, I love Beyonce. Oh, Lord, is one of those queens. Somebody who goes by the name I love Beyonce, and Nikki wrote, Beyonce was never fifth baby mama, sis. Secondly, Jay-Z never cheated on her multiple times. Thirdly, if it weren't for Lemonade, we wouldn't have known that Jay-Z is cheating. You on the other side, we all know. Don't compare your rocky relationship with Jay-Yonce. So, hello, Edward. Let's say, hello, Edward. But anyway, yeah, so I agree with that. It's like, why even bring up, and look, we're not going to sit and compare how long somebody been cheating. First of all, you don't even know how many times Jay-Z has cheated. You probably only know of what Beyonce told you because you know she is very private with her stuff and things that's going on. So you don't really know. But anyway, so let's move on from that. So my thing is, Cardi, push that damn baby out and just focus on get your body back and then focus on your career and worry less about what people are saying about your relationship. Because I said, if you have to justify your actions for anybody who don't even know you or your man, then clearly y'all still got trust issues. They need to just get these two on Love and Hip Hop again. Okay, so Azealia Banks wants to sue Russell Crowe, but apparently she doesn't have the coins. So the rapper apparently has launched a GoFundMe campaign to raise $100,000 to help her sue the actor, who she claims spit at her and called her a nigga after she allegedly threatened to attack dinner party guests with a glass back in October 2016. So far, Azealia has raised $1,958. Girl, what she wrote was, Russell Crowe spit on me at a party in 2016 and denied it. Had a group of people gaslight me, causing irreparable damage to my acting career and my reputation, as well as loads of... Girl, okay, I'm going to stop reading that. Number one, Azealia, it doesn't help that you've been on social media picking fights with every famous person in the industry. That's number one. I'm not even going to compare your situation to the Vixen. But when you're on social media roasting and gagging everybody, sometimes we got to look at you as you're possibly the crazy one. So you can't say that Russell Crowe and that whole situation messed up your career. Your mouth and the way you've been acting on social media has affected your career. I wish you would just be like, you know what? I'm trying to raise some money to a GoFundMe for this next record I want to put out. That's what you need, or an EP. That's what you need to be focusing on. Stop focusing on all this drama and just focus on, getting your money, getting that bread, getting the bag, securing the bag, and doing what you need to do, and not be focusing on the bullshit. Because it's not getting you anywhere. It really isn't. And it is going to affect you, because while music is not necessarily a guaranteed financial check, acting really is. So, good luck to you on that, and I'll keep y'all posted on how much she managed to raise, or if she met her goal around the time of whenever it is. Let me see if the article says... On her Instagram story, however, Azealia said she might fuck the Russell Crowe thing and use those donations to give back to New York foster children in the city. I can cook a lot of meals for kids with whatever is in the fund. So I'm glad I read that part so that way I could put it out. So if she raises the money, she'll be like, you know what, I'm not even going to sue. Because first of all, I think suing him is a waste of damn time. Why don't you just get the money or be more charitable? I really feel like she should just do more charity, give back. If you kind of show that you're doing positive things and give it back to the community, then people will want to mess with you and work with you again. So I think she needs to work on that. Okay, so let's talk about the Braxtons, who have decided to go on an indefinite hiatus over some money issues. According to TMZ, the entire cast, Tamar, Tony, Tawana, Tracy, Trina, and their mother Evelyn, was scheduled to shoot in Atlanta last week. But the only person that showed up was Tracy. And so the WeTV crew all were sent home. Well, the network sent the crew home and pulled the plug on recording because they were supposed to shoot the second half of season 6. According to sources, basically they're saying like the Braxton women are refusing to return to work until the network and Magical Elves production company renegotiate their contracts for the second half of season 6. The major bones of contention are, they're saying, is that the cast feels their wardrobe and travel stipends are so low, it's laughable. Yeah, that's another thing a lot of people don't know about reality TV, is that you get a stipend for, and I learned this because I worked with someone, a girl who worked as a makeup artist on Black Ink, the New York one, not the Chicago one. And she was telling me like that they get a stipend for wardrobe and makeup with the show. And so they have to be like, you got to choose accordingly. Like they don't really make a whole lot of money doing these reality shows. A lot of them get it from like club appearances and endorsements and that sort of thing. So, so their wardrobe and travel stipend is so low it's laughable. They want their salaries increased to an appropriate level. WeTV declined to comment, but sources close to the situation are saying that the Braxtons are under contract through season 9. And TMZ reached out to Magical Elves, and there's no word so far. I like the show. I like how entertaining the show is. And I love the dramatics of it all. But to me, I feel like if y'all don't hesitate to get them damn Kardashians money for providing us with absolutely nothing on their show, because I know animated would keep up with them heifers, and to me, it just seems like the drama that goes on that we hear from, like, whatever Kanye is saying or doing, or, Kim Kardashian still stealing from black folk, taking, doing them doing braids in the hair at the MTV Movie and TV Awards, or calling them Bo Derek braids prior, or whatever the situation is, or what they were trying to say that she's also recently got busted ripping off Rihanna's Fenty Beauty campaign for her own makeup line. So that's more entertaining than the actual show. I've only seen the Kardashian show like maybe 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, this is what people are excited about. Like the show is so not interesting. But yeah, the Braxtons, at least they give you a lot of entertainment. The show is entertaining. I think it needs to come back. It's probably one of their highest rated shows on WeTV. Like honestly, I don't really watch anything on WeTV except Braxton Family Values. I did watch Growing Up Hip Hop a few times. I did watch the one with Bow Wow. I did not watch this season that's on now. The one with Dame Dash's son is on there. And Mary J. Blige, not Mary J. Blige because she divorced from him. Kendu Isaac's daughter's on there. Christina DeBarge. What is it? One of them uppity nieces of Russell Simmons. Rev Run's daughter's on there. So it's like, it's not that entertaining to me. So Braxton Family Values is the one show that I actually watch. And I actually hope they work it out and they bring it back. I understand that they've got, 3 more seasons to film, but they always split them in half. So why don't you just give the girls what they want? They need the money. The show is a show a lot of people watch. Give them what they ask for. Okay, so let's talk about Lakeith Stanfield. So he went out and did a freestyle that people are calling homophobic, and he decided to put it on Instagram. Now, the problem I have with the post is that what he did was he said something or another. I don't remember because I don't have it exactly in front of me of the post, the original post with the homophobic thing, but he implied that it was controversial, that it was going to be in the wheelhouse of offensive. So he knew what he was doing when he posted it. He also said something or another about how I always post things up and take them down. I pick things up and put them down. Like, he basically said that about his Instagram. I'm like, so what's the point of posting things on social media if you're going to remove them? Like, that's stupid to me. But anyway, I want to play you a clip of that horrible-ass freestyle that he posted. And it kind of gives you an initiative into the fact that Lakeith is not talented in the rhyming department, and what Charlamagne was alluding to when Lakeith showed up on his show a while back. I don't know, to promote Get Out, or maybe he was on there to promote Atlanta. I don't know. But here's the clip. Ooh, water. I needed that. What? What? The fuck? That was just bad. And that's what y'all should have roasted him on. Not on what he said, but not that he used homophobic, whatever you want to call it, but that it was just horrible. Like, he kind of sounded like a lot of these damn mumble rappers y'all like. And there was something I also pointed I remember Dame Dash saying that really made a lot of sense. I know everybody says, because it kind of brings it back to the whole BET thing. And I wanted to elaborate on this. I meant to bring it up earlier, but I forgot. But now it's in my brain, I'm going to say it. How we sit and talk about that these young kids don't have respect for the older generation of rappers. But I want to say this. I think it goes both ways. We don't have a lot of the older generation of rappers who have taken time out to mentor and nurture the younger ones that's coming up. We expect them to pay homage, and we expect them to bow down to the queens and kings and this, that, and the third. But you haven't really, you've paved the way, but you haven't taken these young bucks under your wing to basically teach them and to show them. And it's unfortunate. And that's why we have the XXX Tentaciones, and we have the Tekashi 6ix9ine and the Bad Babies and all these other girls that's coming out with their stuff. And it's like they admire the artists, but they're all out here doing their own thing because they've had to figure it out. It's while we've had, when the music I was listening to growing up, like the Jay-Z's and the Nas's and the Biggies and the Locks, and a lot of them where they were pushing drug culture, the Mobb Deeps, pushing drug culture on the people, selling the drugs to get out of the hood, to make something of themselves. You have the younger generation of rappers that are coming up that are basically talking about how they're taking the drugs, how the drugs have affected them. They're the users. They're not the pushers. They're the users of it. So it's like they're the aftermath of what the hip-hop that came before has left, that's the legacy. So I feel like until we get to a point where the older generation actually sits and meets in the middle with the younger generation, has that conversation, we're not going to move anything forward, in the needle forward in regards of like hip hop and the respectability behind it. So I just want to get that out. But anyway, the key was like saying, I make videos all the time, which I usually end up deleting as soon as I make them. I assume characters that have different viewpoints and different views on life, just from different perspectives. Some things my views are in line with, some things my views aren't in line with. Child, you know what? This is bullshit. It's a half-ass apology. It's a bunch of fakery, and you need to drag your sunken place ass way up out the goddamn closet, because I'm starting to look at your ass too. And another thing, I really feel like the only reason why you came out and said this shit and is giving your opinion on this is because you have a movie coming out, and the studio and your publicist and all the people that work behind the scenes basically said, you need to get in front of this, you need to apologize, because we have a movie coming out, and we're not going to allow your homophobic bullshit or your little artistic, whatever you want to call it, to affect our money and this movie that's coming out. So that's where I feel like I'm at on that. So I want to get into the story on Issa Rae, who's basically addressing criticism on an upcoming show that she has coming out. So there's a show that she has coming out. I don't know exactly when it's coming, but I know she's been working on it. Well, we already know that Insecure comes out in August, which I'm definitely looking forward to. I love that show. I kind of wish we had a version of that for the gay community. You know what? Speaking of which, I'll work on that. Don't sit and wish. Make it happen. I can do that. I'll work on that. So she has a show coming out called Him and Her, and it's basically about a guy who is a black male who also happens to be bisexual. So she's getting into the life of this guy who is a black bisexual male. She received a lot of criticism because of this, particularly from black Twitter. You know, a lot of women, a lot of black men are upset about this, probably because now with this show, a lot of you dudes are like to straddle both sides of the both sides of the fence. Your shit's about to be exposed, and all them signs is going to be exposed, and now your girl's probably going to be looking at you while watching this show, because you know a lot of y'all that sit over here throwing shade at the show, y'all going to be watching it. She basically is going to give a lot of your girls are going to start looking at y'all with that suspicion and a mean side eye. So I could totally see them going in and a lot of the men are probably going to be worried because a lot of the shit that they do is about to be exposed, and then the girls are going to be put on to a lot of what these men do. So this is what she basically had to say to the critics. This is what she told Deadline when the negativity, she said, it bothered her. And here's what she said. She was like, I remember just being pissed all day. Sometimes you live in a bubble. You live in a liberal bubble, which I think a lot of them people are in life, particularly not even just in celebrities, but politicals too. Like, I think a lot of people, you have the Republicans who live in a bubble, you have the Democrats who live in a bubble. It's just a lot of people, when you're a part of a certain demographic or a certain dynamic or a certain community, you live in a bubble. And I agree with her on this, but let me finish and shut up. So she was like, I remember just being pissed all day. Sometimes you live in a bubble, you live in a liberal bubble where you think that everyone is open, and in my eyes, progressive in a way that there are so many human experiences, black experiences, gender experiences. There are so many stories to tell. The fear that a story like that would be told when it's a story of so many other people is just absolutely ridiculous. The censorship and the idea that black men can't be all things and still be black men is just absurd. It is. And the show was created by former Daily Show writer Trayvon Free and will be based on his own dating experiences as a bisexual. Interesting. Yeah, so and this is like on the places like the Shade Room. And that's another thing too. I don't like when you have a lot of these black blogs that promote homophobia, particularly the Shade Room, World Star, Media Fake Out. A lot of these blogs like to promote bigotry in the black community when it comes to homosexuality, transgender situations, and to me it's just ugly and ridiculous. This is why I decided to do the platform that I do, and I've been doing it for over 15 years. Where I'm just like, you know what, you have to be that voice. You have to be the person that's like, you know what, they're stupid in their opinions. So Yeah, they went and said, I keep trying to tell y'all, these fools, y'all celebrate celebrities, they're on our enemy's payroll. Every mainstream black and blackish entertainer will be hired knowing or unknowingly to promote one or more of the following: homosexuality, interracial dating, the subconscious normalization of pedophilia, bestiality, and relationships with dolls, robots. And now they talk about that in the early stages. This is the dumb shit people say. And if people want to have sex with an animal, if people want to have sex with someone of the same sex, if people want to fuck a robot, that's their goddamn business. I keep telling people, what does people's decision as an adult have to do with you? I was getting in it with people on social media, friends of mine, who was basically talking about when they were talking about like slut shaming people who bareback. And I'm like, that's their decision. That's something they want to do. That's none of your business on whether or not, like, it's like people being slut shamed for barebacking. Why is that a bad thing? Why is that considered a negative? I don't get it. It's a decision they have to make. That, well, they're promoting safe. They should be promoting safe sex. There's people out there who do promote safe sex, but the reality is people are taking PrEP. Condoms, people don't like using them. Sex feels way better, and people can stay erect without wearing them. There's PrEP, but yeah, you have to worry about gonorrhea and syphilis things. But like, of course, you can go to the doctor. You just have to abstain from sex for a week. You get a shot in your ass, and you take a pill, and you're good to go. Until it becomes to a point where it becomes strain resistant, and then you got to worry about a super gonorrhea or a super chlamydia, whatever the case is. But once we get to that bridge and cross it, then we'll work on that. But to me, I'm actually looking forward to the show. I'm always writing for anything that is going to, in a way, give us an insight into different lives and stories that are being told. And I love the fact that we have people who are in a place of power, like a Ryan Murphy, like a Issa Rae, who is willing to tell stories of people, whether they're trans of color, a trans person of color, whether they're a gay man of color, whether they're a bisexual black man. I'm glad these stories are being told. I'm hoping that they take the same approach of Pose, which is that we get people who are of that world, who understand that world. They could be writers and people who are involved, so that way it comes across as authentic and real. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing this show. I don't know when it's coming out. I know it's controversial, but you know what? This is how we move things forward. When we take something that is considered a taboo, that is something that is considered a negative, and we shine a light on it. And I've always been the type of person that I'm open to seeing different stories. I even think we need more shows that highlights the gay perspective. I know people say, "Oh, well, we've seen that already." Yeah, you've seen it, but we need to show how it is today. And there's nothing wrong with continuously telling the same story over and over. How many times have Romeo and Juliet been told, but in so many different ways? There's so many different ways you could tell a story. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this show. And she basically said how it came about is that Trayvon Free approached her with it. And he said an episode of Insecure was the first time that he had felt like his story was being told in a way. And that was the episode where Issa's friend meets that really good-looking guy. And he said that there was that one time he had an intimate interaction with another man, and it bothered her. Like, she couldn't get past it. So I was like, you know what? It'd be great to see a show from that perspective, and now we're getting it. So I'm looking forward to it whenever they decide to air it. Okay, so let's talk about Adam Lambert. So Adam Lambert gave a little insight into his whole relationship status. My God, I just realized I cleared my throat into the mic. But anyway, he basically was talking about that his love life is non-existent. He hasn't been in a relationship for 5 years because he's been working and traveling quite a bit. So dating has been temporary and transient. And he also said that being on the road a lot is not conducive to finding love. He says, I could meet and really click with a special guy in whatever city I'm in for a few days, and then I have to continue to my next destination. What's hard is attempting to see each other again, especially after just the first date. There's a lot of speculation and pressure to place on someone. Flying to another country for a second date is understandably intimidating. And he was also saying dating is a bit tricky when you're moving around all the time, I have to say. You can meet somebody great and then be like, okay, I'm only here for 3 days, I gotta go. So, to me, I look at it as like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with dating someone for like, be it 24 hours that you meet and y'all have that connection and then it's over? I remember that episode of Queer as Folk when that happened with Emmett. When Emmett was at Babylon and met that guy for one day, and they had a full on. They met the butterfly stage, then they had like the jealousy stage, then they had the breakup stage, and then at the end of the night they were done with each other. So you laugh, but it's a reality. And whether you're dating someone for one day, whether you're dating someone for 7 days, whether you're dating someone for 7 months, whether you're dating someone for 7 years, whether you're dating someone for 37 years or 73 years or whatever you want to call it, I always look at everything in life as it having an expiration date. And to me, I just go with the flow. I go with the connection that I have with the person. And if you're willing to take it to the next level, that's fine. If you're not willing to take it to the next level, that's fine. I move on and I do what I have to do. But don't engulf yourself in this whole world of I have to be like what people consider the norm of what a relationship should be. That once you meet someone, that you need to work hard to make that person yours and yours only. It has to be a two-way thing. It has to be an overall connection. And you just have to see if you vibe and if you can take it from there. Some people are good at it. Some people are not. But it is, it is what it is. And I'm sure once Adam settles down and is not doing his, maybe when he does his residency in Vegas for Queen, maybe he'll find somebody and settle down a little bit there until he's ready to release his new album and then do whatever he needs to do after that. So I want to give a shout out to Starbucks, who will now pay for top surgeries and other cosmetic procedures for its transgender employees. So I think that is an amazing idea. I love the fact that Starbucks is pretty much accepting a lot of their trans employees. Another thing too, because I know that's always been the argument that they always say like, well, nobody will hire transgender people to work in a legitimate job. So a lot of them have to resort to prostitution and escorting, whatever the case you want to call it, or stripping or drag performances, even though a lot of trans people don't consider themselves to be drag queens, but they'll do a lot of those performances, or burlesque, or whatever you want to call it. So I applaud Starbucks for taking this initiative and actually deciding to do something creative and different and being like, you know what? We'll actually pay for your top surgery. We'll get you some boobs and things. So what it basically says, Starbucks Coffee Company, infamously embroiled in one of the messiest corporate racial incidents in recent memory, has announced plans to offer comprehensive health care for its transgender employees, covering procedures usually deemed cosmetic and not financed by most insurers. On Monday, and perhaps not unintentionally during Pride Month, the company announced that in addition to covering gender reassignment or bottom surgery, which it has done since 2012, the company will now foot the bill for breast reduction or augmentation, which is what they call top surgery, hair transplants, voice therapy, and facial feminization surgery. Excuse me. This is important according to Pink News, as trans advocates have highlighted that medical transition is often represented as one surgery when it actually involves multiple procedures that take many years. It reports that the company partnered with the World Professional Association for Transgender Health to create the new benefits. So I like the fact that Starbucks has become progressive with this because it is a growing chain. There's a lot of them. Like if you go in New York, there's like one on every damn corner. So why not? And a lot of people work there. It's a high in demand job. A lot of people love their Starbucks coffee. Okay, but so while we're and what I always find interesting is that while we're celebrating Pride Month and all that's going with excuse me, with trans and situations like that, there's also a story that was done where there was about like a study showing half of the LGBT community is closeted at work. So while we have something positive happening with Starbucks, we have this negative to worry about. So there's a study that was done by the HRC, which is known as the Human Rights Campaign. A little more than half of the LGBTQ workers say they are comfortable being out at work, roughly the same number as a decade ago. The findings call no into question how well inclusive company policies are really shaping workplace culture. So yeah, there are places like in New York, like when I was working at AMC, you could pretty much be out. There's like so many people that work there that are gay and are out of the closet, out and proud. A lot of them are managers, general managers, running things, and it's not an issue. I ever worked with somebody who was a trans male. So there are a lot of companies that are very inclusive and that will not discriminate based on sexual orientation. And it says it in the documentation when you're filling out the paperwork. So on a survey of 1,615 workers, both gay and straight, LGBTQ respondents reported fear of being stereotyped, damaging relationships, and making others uncomfortable as reasons for keeping their sexual orientation to themselves. While LGBTQ inclusive corporate policies are becoming the norm, LGBTQ workers too often face a climate of bias in the workplace, says Dina Fidus, director of HRC's Workplace Quality Program, in a statement on the organization's website. LGBTQ employees are still avoiding making personal and professional connections at work because they fear coming out. Like I said, when I was I wasn't out in the beginning. I pretty much I stay to myself, and I like to see how people are before I jump in and give a little bit of myself and my personality and how that is. But overall, once I'm like comfortable and stuff, like I'll tell people, like, yeah, I'm gay, and this and the third, and it's not a big deal. Like I would meet a lot of people, and you'd be surprised because the minute you tell people you're gay, then all of a sudden stuff about them starts coming out, and then all of a sudden they want to take you in the back area somewhere, and then y'all start sucking dick, or you start having sex with your coworkers. But that's a whole nother story that we need to save for another time. I talked a little bit about that last week with people having a lot of sex at work. And so they was also saying, while 80% of non-LGBTQ workers agree that LGBTQ people should not have to worry about hide who they are at work, and 78% of them say they are comfortable talking about their spouse, partner, or dating to coworkers. 36% of non-LGBTQ workers say they would feel uncomfortable hearing an LGBTQ colleague talk about dating. You know what? I'll talk about this to my, like, a lot of my best friends who I made from my last job are straight guys, and they're not bothered by the conversations that I have with them about some of the stuff. Like, I listen to, like, I'm like, look, I listen to y'all talk about pussy all day, so you're gonna listen to me about the dudes I be fucking in the ass. And they laugh about it, and we all go about our business, but it's not a big deal. And I think it's probably because they are millennials, and millennials just don't care about, all of that, the labels and all other stuff. That you could talk about stuff, and it's like, okay, so you're gay, or it's okay, so you're this. It's not a big deal. So I think it's just different depending on the generations, on the climate you're coming up. Because look, a lot of the companies now are getting a lot younger. So I want to also mention this. I don't know why it's a big deal that they're making an issue about this, but there's one of the guys who was one of the Royal Horse Cavalry Guards who escorted Prince Harry and Meghan Markle on their wedding day. They're making a big deal about the fact that he moonlights as a gay porn performer. So Radar Online decided to put his ass on blast, and his name is Dan Broughton, Broughton, if you want to look him up. I looked him up after I saw the name, saw the videos. He's a top. He's got a big old dick. But his porn name is Dirty Danny, and apparently he's one of Britain's busiest gay porn actors. And so what Radar was saying was that as a member of the Household Cavalry, Dan Broughton is a prominent member of the plum and gold-helmeted mounted royal escort. His unit accompanied the newly married couple's white horse-drawn carriage through Windsor streets following their sumptuous May 19th wedding. It's never been a secret that Broughton is gay. In fact, he's believed to be a pal of Harry, who has even described Dan as his GBF, which is basically gay best friend, a Royal Insider has said. So the online gossip rag also says that the internet is littered with explicit Dirty Danny videos, including on the very NSFF not safe for work sites, men.com, and English Lads. So if you want to look it up there, or go on Google, because it's your friend, you can look that up there. So I don't know why it's a big deal. People do porn. People have to find other ways of making ends meet. And I don't think people should judge people who have legitimate jobs who also moonlight as porn stars. If you find a way that something that you're good at, like I know people who are hairstylists or work in politics and that sort of thing, and campaigning, who also are go-go dancers at a lot of gay establishments, be it Fire Island, the Eagle, Rock Bar the Cock. I know somebody who just flew out from California, who is in New York right now, who is spending a week in Fire Island and is a go-go dancer, hairstyles, that sort of thing. He's basically out there doing some stuff now, and he's going to be out there for the week. So I don't know why people judge. But really quick, I don't want to get to this topic because this will be the final topic, and I got 8 minutes left, so I want to really get to this. Hollywood. And this whole thing where we love to congratulate. You know what? I have to say, I love the fact that we become progressive in the in regards of LGBTQ inclusivity on television and a little bit in film. We still have a long way to go. Like, I know we had Love, Simon, and Keenan Lonsdale was in Love, Simon, and he won the award for Best Kiss at the MTV Video Movie and TV Award, not Video Music Award. That comes on like August or something like that. But I love how progressive, like how far we've come in regards of that. That we have people winning awards in our community. But what I have an issue with is that we have straight actors who are coming in and winning gay awards or getting nominations based off playing gay parts. So we have, for example, Timothée Chalamet scoring a Best Actor Oscar nomination for Call Me By Your Name, which came out last year. Armie Hammer got rave reviews for his role in the same movie, and he also had a scene in the movie J. Edgar where he was trying to seduce Leonardo DiCaprio in that film. Lucas Hedges, who was 21, played gay teens in Lady Bird and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Now, I saw 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. It was implied he was gay, but like the mannerisms, the breadcrumbs was laid out, but he didn't come out and actually say he was gay. But the inclination was there. But that's another issue I have with Hollywood movies too. You want us to, you throw out little crumbs here and there. It's like, oh yeah, like limp the wrist, man, slur your words. Let him know that he's gay because of effeminate, even though there's so many different types of gays out there, and not just, mannerisms. But anyway, so he, what was I gonna say? Oh, so he most likely what they're saying is that he'll probably get nominated for his role in the movie Boy Erased, which is coming out, and I believe Nicole Kidman is in that. Troye Sivan has a role in it, and I believe Russell Crowe is in it. And it's basically about a young boy who is sent to gay conversion therapy. And so there most likely will be nominations for that. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Sean Penn, Christopher Plummer, they've all won Oscars for playing gay. Colin Firth, like the list goes on and on and on. We've even had Eddie Redmayne and Jared Leto win for playing trans women in their movies, The Danish Girl and Dallas Buyers Club. So my thing is this: why is it that non-LGBT that we know of people can play our parts, but if a Matt Bomer, a Neil Patrick Harris, Billy Porter, or Luke Evans, he ain't out, but girl, we've known your history. Or any of those, if the opportunity comes where we have openly gay, or the Wilson Cruzes, if there's a part, the Daryl Stevens, if there's any opportunity for these roles where there's a gay character, why can't gay people play those roles? Because just because I have being gay in common doesn't mean that my story matches the story of the character that I'm playing. We have that, I can bring what it's like I can empathize with the character that's on the page, but my experience is not the same as the actor that's written on the page. So I don't understand why casting directors and people in Hollywood don't really understand that. And I kind of wish they would understand it, because we need to be out here playing our roles. Don't get me wrong. I feel like look, I even think gay people can play straight roles. Why does it happen? We could play a romantic lead. We could play an action movie star. Not all gay men are effeminate. Not all gay men, dress in drag and do dips and duck walks. Not a lot of us do that. Those get highlighted on TV, but there are different shades of the rainbow within our community that I feel like is not highlighted enough or recognized. And I think that we have to kind of continue to push through with the narrative. This is why it's always good to have people who work behind the scenes, like the Issa Raes, and we have the hell's his name? I would have said Lee Daniels, but Lee Daniels, like, not paying people back that he owes. I kind of look at him funny now. Or when you look at people like Ryan Murphy, where it's like you have to get yourself to a certain point in the industry to push this narrative and to basically get those stories told. So it'll continue to happen. We still have a long way to go in regards of this industry and being more inclusive, bringing the inclusivity to it. Oh, another thing, Andrew Garfield just won. Didn't he win a couple of weeks ago? He won a Tony for Angels in America. So you know what? We should be allowed to play our characters. We should be allowed to tell our stories. And I do like the fact that Ryan Murphy changed it up by having the entire cast of Boys in the Band on Broadway played by openly gay actors. So I do love the fact that he did that. So hopefully down the road, if they do decide, Ryan Murphy decides to create a show featuring all gay men and telling their stories in the vein of A Queer as Folk, that they'll hire all gay actors to play those roles and to kind of go wherever they want to go with these characters. Or people who are artists like myself. We'll push the narrative and try to get these stories told, to get things happening and popping. So I'm with it. And I just found this story fascinating. And, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I just hope that we don't have a situation where they gay wash the films. Like the Freddie Mercury movie that's coming out with Rami Malek. Because Ben Whishaw, who is openly gay, he plays Q in the recent movies of Bond. He was the one that was supposed to play the character. He was supposed to play Freddie Mercury, but then they went with Rami Malek. I don't know why they decided to do that, but we have an issue where we have gay actors still in the closet and afraid of coming out. You got to be able to push that narrative. We got to be able to do what we need to do for us and to push our stories forward. Because the more we demand inclusivity in the world, we should be demanding it as well in our programming on television, cable, Netflix, wherever you watch your shit. You should be demanding it. So I want to say thank you all for watching on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Thank you. Well, not YouTube Live, because it ain't live. It's going to go to YouTube after this. Thank you all for listening on alldigitalradio.com and the app. Love you all for listening. Tune in same time, same place next week for a brand new episode of teas and gossips and all kinds of things we're going to be talking about. Enjoy the rest of your Pride, since this is the last official day of Pride Month. Enjoy the day. Taste the rainbow. Love you all for listening. Ciao. Love it, darlings. Mm.